moral person and you feel morally obligated, or you're intellectually excited, or you're just see it a business opportunity and you're greedy, it does not matter to me. Your starting point is irrelevant because you cannot get there without innovation. So my basic thesis is, don't do inclusive growth because you want to be nice. If you want to build an innovative, globally competitive society, inclusion is not a choice. It is where the opportunity exists, and I'm going to demonstrate that. So I want to start with the typical picture. Now, all of you know what this picture is about. Some of you have brilliant eyesight. Don't read the stuff underneath. But what do you see? You see two elephants. Is this anything new in India? For 2,000 years, we have seen this in villages. What is new is, during the last general election, this was taken in Assam. They're carrying electronic polling booths on top of elephants. This is important. All of us know that India, the entire election was done electronically. After India went to the polls, of course the incumbents lost. They complained about losing, but not about the polling process. And that's important, because after that, Germany went to the polls, it was not electronic. Japan went to the polls, it was not electronic. And I also want to say, the United States is going to go to the polls, and it's not going to be electronic. So, anybody can see poverty. Very few people can see the capacity to leapfrog the West. That's exactly what we did. So, don't see the elephant when you see the poor. See the electronic polling booth. Because everybody can see poverty, very few can see the capacity that the poor and an emerging market provides for leapfrogging the West. I am not talking about benchmarking the best. I'm talking about leapfrogging the West and creating the next practice, not the best practice. That is the opportunity that we have. It is ours to lose. And I'm going to show you why we are likely to lose if we don't understand the enormous opportunity that is handed to us on a silver platter. So don't complain about the poor. See them as the instruments of leapfrogging the West. Of course, the poor live in unorganized, inefficient systems. The good news is the poor understand markets instinctively. The markets are local monopolies. Every shantytown, every village is a market. The rules are clear. It's unorganized, it is inefficient, and there is tremendous amount of information asymmetry. Poverty is about information asymmetry. And that is what the middlemen leverage. The arbitrage is about information arbitrage. And of course, I coined the term poverty penalty. The poor pay more for everything. Take, for example, credit. The local money lenders charge 300% rather than 10%. That is a poverty penalty. If you're trying to get water trucked into Dharavi, people pay more than the rich people pay in Bombay. I've documented this very, very carefully. The good news is that is true universally. It is true in Sao Paulo, it is true in the United States. The poor pay more, and they get poor quality and low tech. So it is not, we don't have to romanticize poverty. People live in a very stringent and a harsh system. All that we have to create is how to take the unorganized sector into the organized sector, how to create national and global competition for those markets so that the local landlords, the local village headmen don't control the market, how to get world-class quality at affordable prices, how to access information differently, and how to use advanced technologies and new methods. So that, I think, is the antidote to the current system in which we live. And I believe that at least we have to pay attention to 4, maybe 5 mother industries. Because poverty is also about poor productivity. You have poor productivity because you don't have information or connectivity. You don't use energy efficiently. You're not educated, and therefore you don't have good health care, or you don't have good health care, therefore you don't have education. And you don't have access to credit. So connectivity, the private sector has done a miracle in this country. Microfinance is starting with NGOs and private sector. But education, healthcare, and energy, really nothing much is happening. And I would like to ask the question, why can't we do in energy and in health and in education the same level of creativity that connected India and created the world's fastest growing market in cell phones? What stops us from doing it? So, in other words, people always ask me, it's sort of nice for you to say there is a market, and I know there are a lot of business people here. You can ask the question, is there really a source of wealth? I say yes. All of you are familiar with these pictures, is it not? The local kirana shop, the rag picker at Ahmedabad, the cycle tire or the two-wheeler tire fixer in a small shop. Have all their lives been changed by the cell phone? I like to pose the question, is it been just good for these people to change their lifestyles and their business models? I remember in Ahmedabad, where I go sometimes, people used to go and buy vegetables. Now the vegetable vendor has a cell phone. He takes orders on the cell phone, only buys what is required. There is no shrinkage, no wastage, no forecasting. And in 2 hours he's done and he goes on to do something else. And the same thing is true in sub-Saharan Africa. Last year, sub-Saharan Africa had more new subscribers than the United States. That is sub-Saharan Africa. Same thing in South Africa. The first new multinational coming out of South Africa, MTN, is a cell phone company. Of course, China, India, and so on. I believe 3 billion people are already connected, maybe 4 billion by 2010, first time in human history. And India is one of the fastest growing markets. I don't change this slide in the last 6 months because 6 million or 8 million, it doesn't matter. It's the fastest growing market. And the cost of service is the lowest. And the market cap of 4 firms in 10 years' time is 75 billion. That's real money. And I like to pose the question, can you enable ordinary people to be connected? Therefore, they can change their lives, add more income, whether it's a fisherman in Kerala or a kirana shop in Ahmedabad. At the same time, make a lot of money for yourself. In other words, is good business good for the community as well, if you know how to do it right. And cell phone is increasingly becoming the choice, the device of choice, not the PC. So, if you just look at this, you ask yourself, how do you convert consumers from the unorganized, inefficient markets to the organized market? The only advantage we had in the cell phone business is there was no business before. The poor had no access to connectivity, so it was not replacing somebody who was already there. But in many businesses, there are already an existing system, but it's unorganized. We have to develop the market, and we have to do breakthrough innovations. But first, we have to start thinking differently. Price minus profit must equal to cost. Affordable price for all people if you want inclusion. Politically, if you want inclusion, as a business, you want a large market. It's the same thing. You must have affordable prices, and prices must be set by the community whom you want to serve. Profit you have to make to sustain the business, therefore reduce the cost. That's a different starting point from cost plus profit must equal to price. You may think, what is the difference? It's the same 3 variables. Let me show you some pictures. It's obvious that this woman requires cataract surgery. How much should it cost? World-class cataract surgery. To give you a reference, it's $3,000 in the United States. They tell me it was 25 to 30,000 rupees in the most reasonable hospitals, in not big metros. I know Delhi may be even more, I don't know, but anyway, 25 to 30,000 rupees. She can't afford 25 or 30,000 rupees. How much should it be? And you must still make a profit. If you focus on this woman and try to help her, you build the world's largest cataract surgery clinic. It's called Arvind Eye Hospital. $30 max, that's the cost.